Hello and welcome to day 57 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. All right, let's find an opponent. Okay, will we have the white or the black pieces? All right, we have black. Here we go. So d4 will play knight to f6, preventing them from playing e4 here, and see what they do next. All right, so they decide to play knight to f3. Maybe they're going to go for a London setup. Maybe a Catalan. Let's see. Well, we might as well move that, and then we will well, I guess we might as well take the center there. And if they're castling, I guess we will go ahead and do the same. All right, so now, all right, they attack there. So let's go ahead and, I don't know, I'm thinking c6 here to back up this pawn in the center. All right, why not? We'll go ahead and just back up that pawn. So, of course, if they capture, we recapture, and we keep both of our pawns in the center here. Okay, so they decide to play that. Should we go ahead and capture here? Or not capture, sorry. Well, we could try that. We could try and just capture that pawn. Maybe we go ahead and do that. We'll just go ahead and capture, and then, okay. Do we go ahead and protect that with the bishop? I don't know. That would be too crazy of a move to go there. We could save that, or if the queen captures, then we attack. But I don't know if I like that. Maybe we just go ahead. If we attack their knight, they'll just move forward. So, what other option do we have? Do we go after this bishop? I mean, does that gain anything, by doing that? All right, so I'm at a crossroads here. All right, I'm just taking too much time thinking about this. So, well, maybe we attack the queen, pick off his knight, get rid of our bad bishop, Then we can push this pawn forward. All right. So we'll try that. We'll pick off his knight, get rid of our bad bishop. Then we can push this pawn up, bring our knight over to here. So we can bring our knight up. All right, first off, we'll go here to try and fortify the center, take control of this d5 square. Then we'll try and bring our knight up here. Now his queen could go after this, or, well, I don't know if his bishop will come down here and try and attack us. We could just move our rook, but what will he probably do here? I'd imagine he would just, well, I don't know, maybe push this pawn or bring his rooks to the center. But I definitely need to develop this knight. I mean, he could have a bad bishop here that he wants to get rid of and just capture my knight, but I don't know. I doubt he'll do that because most people want to keep the bishop pair. That's usually an advantage. Maybe I shouldn't have given it up, but since I'm in a cramped position, I wanted to trade off some pieces, get rid of my bad bishop. Okay. Well, now I could just attack him. Okay, do I go ahead and just attack? Or not, sorry, he's attacking this pawn. Do I move my queen up here? Then if he captures, I capture towards the center. All right, we'll just go ahead and do that. See what he does. If he captures, I just capture towards the center here. All right, so we'll do that. Now we're attacking this pawn. So we probably want to move this pawn up next. Well, we don't have to worry about that yet. First, we want to go ahead, bring this knight up. So let's go ahead and do that. Then, if he jumps his knight forward, then we can just go ahead and capture. He could move here and attack our rook. So we need to well, let's see. Probably need to just move our knight to the center, attacking his bishop, but then his pawn could attack us with e4. And then what do? Once the knight's here, just back up right to where we were pretty much. Okay. All right, well now could just go here and limit the scope of his knight. Ah, or did I miss a chance here? Did I miss an opportunity? Well, not really. If I attack his bishop, he could attack my rook, and then I would have to move. So, should move our rook. Where? Move our rook. Oh, well, we have to watch out because he could attack our knight. Well, if he moves forward, we just move here. So let's go there. If he attacks, then it leaves him with a backwards pawn. Okay. Well, now what? Do we have time to go up here and then back here? Let's see. If we go here, he'll probably just attack us. Do we attack his bishop now? Try and get rid of one of his bishops. I think we'll go ahead and do that. Because if we get rid of his bishop pair, then that kind of helps us out a little bit. All right. So he attacks. So now we need to get these knights and rooks to work here. Okay, this I don't mind so much. Well, maybe I do. Because if I move to here, well, at worst he just captures me. And then I capture this way. We'll go ahead and move in there. Oh, but, his knight's going to jump in to e4 here. This knight is guarding. But if he jumps here, he could go after our rook and our king. So we need to jump back up here to guard. Or he could jump here. Attacking our... Oh, man. Well, okay. No, this knight is covering this, so we're good. But if he jumps here, he's attacking this pawn. So we need to move our rook and protect this pawn. Okay, so he's going for it. He could jump in here, attack our rook by going here to knight to d6 and attacking this pawn. So we probably need to move here anyway. All right. We'll go ahead and do that. Now, will he jump in there? He may. He may try and jump right in there. All right, I need to get... Okay, so he does. All right. Well, now we need to jump our knight up to here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Then we could maybe try and jump down here and get rid of that knight. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. Then we can jump down and attack that knight. Or, we could even jump forward with the knight. That might be better, because then we'll threaten to fork his rooks as well. And then it could pull our pawn this way. Okay, I guess he saw that. All right, well, we just go up there anyway. We'll just go up there anyway. So how about that? Activate our rook, attacking this pawn. Threaten to go up here anyway. All right. Okay. Do I go up here? But then he could just fork both of our pieces here. If he does that, then what do we do? I don't like that. So, well, I guess I jump down there. If I jump down here, all right, that's what we're gonna do, but I don't know. Let's see. Can our other knight do anything? Should our king jump up here? All right. Could we have a threat there? All right, maybe we just go here. Attacking. All right, we'll just go there and attack him. Before we end up wasting too much time. All right. Okay, well, he does that, so do we go after his knight? Or do we just have to capture here? We probably have to capture. So we'll capture this way. I don't know. He could tear apart our position here. Giving up his knight here. I capture. Okay, so he goes that way. All right. Do I push this pawn next? That's probably what I should do. Push this pawn up. Okay, let's take a look at this. If I push this pawn up, well, he could go ahead and attack me. Then I capture. Then I could go here. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Get ready to push this pawn forward. If he attacks our rook, we'll capture. Then we would be good anyway, but at least we're doubling our rooks, and we'll get ready to push this b pawn and try and break things up here. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're threatening to capture. You know, if he captures, then we capture and we come out a pawn ahead. So what is he going to do here? He could, if he pushes forward, well, then we just capture. So, all right, now we capture and we can double up here or here. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right, which pawn to go after? Well, if we go in the center, he'll double up there. So let's just go right there. And go after this. Okay. Now, do we go after this? If we go after that, he'll have to move back to there. Okay. Now, what should we do? If we go there, then what? Do we move our king up? Do we go after this guy? All right. Well, he could push forward there. Let's see, let's see. All right. Well, maybe I go there. Line up on him. All right. We'll go there. See what he does next. I don't know if I'm playing this pawn endgame very well. All right, let's push him up to there. Well, now he's just going to come down into our position. Okay. Do we move up here? Or do we move to the center? Or do we just capture? I say we just capture. We'll just get rid of some of these pawns. But now we're left with this weak pawn, but he's got a weak one as well, but he's got these central pawns here. So, I don't know. All right, what do we do now? What do we do? I don't know. This is looking pretty tricky. If we move here, will he go here? Trying to, well, no, we can't move there, but if we move this pawn, what will he do next? Should we move over to here? I don't know. He's just got everything pretty protected. I don't know. Maybe we go after this. Force him to press forward. But I don't know. That now he pushes forward to here. Do we go there? You know, preventing his king from going over there, but his king could go here. If he does that, then we just attack. The problem is, you know, are we leaving this unprotected? If he swings over, starts picking these off, you know, will we be able to counterattack with our rook? So, I don't know, pretty tricky here. Okay, well, we should just pick that off now. Okay, then we go after that pawn. Hmm. Well, if we go there, blockade the pawn. Now the problem is he could threaten to move here and attack. Well, his king might have to move over here. He could move up here to prevent our rook from moving here and trying to pick this off. Or he could move his rook here, but then we'll just go here, pick this off. This is pretty tense. Man, these rook endgames are pretty tricky. I mean, we're even in material, but he's got two isolated pawns. Well, almost like four isolated pawns because he's pushed this one too far forward. So we have this weak pawn over here, which he could go after with his king. Okay, so now, do we pick this off? Like that. Now if he goes after this, we try that. Now, do we go here? If we attack his rook, then we could go after this. Okay, so if we play rook to e4 and he captures and we capture, we have 1, 2, 3 moves. He's got a lot more. 1, 2, 3, 4 to move his king. 5, 6. All right, so we might as well just do that. Guess we just go there. Then we could move this up. Okay, well, now we should just press this pawn forward. Just move our pawn up. All right. Well, now we can do that. All right, so think about this. We're moving forward. Do we move our king up? That is the question. Then we're going to have an issue with this passed pawn. So we need to get our passed pawn moving in a hurry. So his king is kind of cut off. All right. Well, we need to move our pawn. So we'll go there. Then go after his rook. He's got 4 moves. So 1, if we go there, so we'll go there. All right. Now we can get behind the passed pawn. We'll go there. Pretty tough. Okay, I need to watch the time. I need to look and see if there is a way to take advantage of my more active rook. You know, if he pushes here, then what? I have to bring my king down here. If he brings his king over here, well, then I need to check him. He could try and cut me off here. Okay. Now, do I check his king? Then go after his pawn? Or do I go after this pawn immediately? All right, let's think about this. If I check him, where does he go? Up towards the center. If I go back after this, he could guard it. Do I bring my king down here to stop him? Do I just check him? All right, anyway, I don't have too much time to think, so I'm just going to go there. I don't know if that's a good move. I mean, what if he checks me? Then I go here. His king threatens to move up. All right. So he does that. Now what? I need to check his king. I need to check his king. You know, if I go up here, he's just going to check me. Okay. Let's go ahead and just check him. He's asking for a draw. Okay, so he goes there. Do we attack again? Do we pick off the other pawn? Now we'll just go there, see what he does. All right, now do we pick him, or go after him again? And then what? Probably should have accepted the draw. I mean, I don't know. I'm ahead. I have this advantage over here. I don't know. What do you think? Should I have just taken a draw? I mean, if he goes back here, then what? All right, now do we pick off this? Now this is where it gets dangerous. I'm probably just going to have to go for the draw because I don't have enough time. I only have 30 seconds, so it's a draw by repetition. We'll have to look at this. I probably had a winning chance. Yeah, so it looks like I had a chance to win. But with 30 seconds on the clock, I wasn't sure exactly how to go about it. Well, let's look at the game review, and the computer will tell us here. All right. So we played with 90.1% accuracy versus their 86.9. They had one great move and we had two. 22 best moves by us and 21 by them. All right, so I had 5 inaccuracies and they had 3. I had 2 mistakes, they had 2. but they had a miss and a blunder. So let's take a look at all this. So it looks like we were definitely winning. I just, with 30 seconds left on the clock, I wasn't sure exactly which way I should have gone. So let's see what the computer recommends. So the review here. All right, so this is the Neo Grunfeld defense, classical, original defense. All right, so what do we have here? We captured. He goes after that. This, the computer doesn't like that, a mistake, because I don't know, just we give up our bishop pair. But, I mean, at least I had a reason for doing that. I wanted to get rid of my bad bishop because I was getting ready to push this pawn here and lock in. I could have locked in my bishop. But it says I ignored an opportunity to develop the knight off of its starting square. So it looks like it wanted me to just develop my knight here instead. So best would have been moving the knight up here. All right. All right. Well, let's take a look here. So we exchanged the queens and then we traded off material, and it just turned into a rook battle at the end. All right, so it did not like this. What would have been better here? It says that's a mistake. So better would have been to push forward with this pawn. Interesting. I guess that keeps the king out of g4. They could capture us, but then they have weak doubled pawns. Although, if they captured us, then what do? If we go up here, the king could protect, but then I guess we could check him. If he captures, then we pick this pawn off, but then he's got this passed pawn over here, so I don't know. And right here it's saying white is ahead plus 1.39. So anyway, it liked this exchange. Now black is ahead. And then it also liked this, blocking the pawn, of course, because we didn't want to run away past pawn here, especially if the king was able to go here, although we could check him out of there, but then he would go after this pawn. All right, so we're doing good so far. All right, so we played at a 2100 level versus their 1950. And it said you had a pretty competitive game there. Your opponent played better than you in the opening. It was an incredible middle game by both of you, and you both played a nice end game. So for my opponent, 96.8% accuracy in the opening, and we just had 89.4. In the middle game, they had 89.4, and we had 94.6. So then in the end game, they had 82.8 and we had 88.3. Okay, let's look at this analysis and see exactly what we should have done. So d4, knight to f6, knight to f3. So this move kind of waits to see what black is going to do. Should I have just pushed this d pawn forward maybe? I'm not sure, but, well, let's see what the computer says. So it looks like d5. The computer likes that move the best. d5 helps take control of the center. So we probably should have played that, but we played g6. Now white is ahead a little bit more. So with this move, it kind of keeps the game even. So we move here. Once again, inviting them to play c4. They don't yet, so now we go here. Now the game is pretty even. White's slightly ahead because of the first move. So he castles, we castle, and then c4 here. So it looks like c6 is the best move. That way, if he captures our center pawn, we recapture and we maintain 2 central pawns versus his 2 central pawns. All right, so computer recommends an immediate capture there, which I guess he didn't want to do that because if I capture, then that gives my knight room to develop up here on c3, I guess. Although, is that the best spot for it? Maybe I want to go here to guard this e5 square, which the bishop and knight and pawn are all aiming at. So here the best move is to capture the pawn. So we go ahead and do that. We found that move. And now queen to c2. Here it says it's an inaccuracy. That queen to c1 would have been better, which I see why queen to c1 could be good. You create a queen and bishop battery, maybe threatening to trade this off. But the queen moves here to try and recapture this pawn. Maybe even entice me to push here to protect it, but that would weaken my queen side, especially with this bishop lined up down through here. So it does say, the computer said I should have protected that pawn. All right. Well, let's take a look at that. So this says black goes ahead here. But then we have what? A4. A4. Oh, now it's saying E4 is even better. To just forget about the queen side and just take control of the center. And that would prevent this bishop from attacking. So an important point here, if there's an attack on the wing, you have to also keep an eye on the center because the center is the most important area of the board, except for the area around the king if there's a threat of checkmate. But the center is very important. So here it recommends an e4 move, just immediately taking control of the center here. And now, knight to a6 is the move that it recommends. That's pretty interesting. Knight to a6. Man, I don't know. That looks like a crazy move there. I mean, I guess you're threatening to jump up here and attack the queen and then jump in here to d3. So, yeah, I guess that's what that move was all about. Now you prevent the knight from jumping forward. And now it wants this move. It really likes, the computer is throwing all the knights on the edge of the board, and usually you don't want to do that. But now it's saying to retreat your knight back, which is probably better because you don't want to go too crazy putting both your knights on the edge. Now you jump back here, maybe threaten to jump up here and attack the bishop and the pawn, but he could just retreat back. Knight to c3 recommended by the computer, and then bishop to b7, fighting for control of the diagonal. And the computer's also recommending this knight move here. All right, but now it's saying the game is, well, I don't know, if they play b3 that it's kind of even here. Recommends c5, which is an interesting choice, but I don't know, capturing the pawn is the third recommended move, but then that could leave you with this backward pawn on a half open file, and that could be a weakness. All right, well, let's get back to the game. We had queen to c2 here, which the computer says is an inaccuracy, and then we played bishop to f5. But the computer recommended that b5 move, protecting the pawn. So, I don't know. I didn't want the game to go all crazy with, opening up my queen side. So, we attack the queen with the idea of once the queen captures the pawn, we take the knight. But recommended here is h6, it looks like. Although now it's saying knight to d5. Just jumping your pieces in the middle here, or the knight anyway, and attacking their bishop. So let's look at that. Knight to d5, attacking their bishop. What do they do? Go here. I guess we could attack again, but then that would kind of weaken our king side, especially with the queen lined up on our king. h6, that move is better, attacking that way. So now it recommends bishop to d2, and then what do we do? Knight up here to d7, something like that. All right, well, back to the game. Oh, excuse me. So after queen to c2, we attack the queen. The queen captures a pawn. We capture the knight. The rook captures, although it likes this rook capturing better. So now knight to a6 is the best move. I guess that helps you bring the knight back here and up here maybe. But in the game, we had e6. So that's the second best move. Computers now recommend an a5, gaining space on the queen side and preventing this pawn from pushing forward. But black didn't want to do that, or excuse me, white didn't want to do that anyway. We have queen to b4. Computer says this is an inaccuracy, that queen to c2 would have been better. So why did they play this? I don't know, maybe to create a battery with the bishop, or to bring the queen here, but probably just to attack this unprotected pawn. That's probably the main reason. Attacking the b pawn. So what do? We either move up here, push the pawn, or go here with the queen. If we push the pawn, that c pawn could become weak. So let's go back. The computer recommends that move, which would cover this square, allow the e pawn to push forward and take control of the center. So what would we do here? Just rook to e8 to get our rook off of this diagonal where it could be attacked. Now the computer's saying to play h6 to keep this bishop out of the position. All right. In the game, queen to b4, we move up here to block. The computer says that's best, and now the computer captures. But it looks like that is not the best move. That better would be what? I think it said here, queen to d2. So queen to d2, is it saying that is best? Yes, because you create a battery, you threaten to trade off the bishop here. You also have the queen covering the d pawn and the b pawn here. All right, so what would we do here? Here we would just develop our knight. And all right, back to the game. We had an exchange of queens here. So now it looks like a3 is recommended because we're attacking this pawn. So of course they find that move, a3. And then knight at b to d7 is what we played. But looks like an immediate b5 would be better. b5. An immediate b5 or knight to d5, just jumping up here and attacking the rook immediately. Okay, so instead we just activate our other knight. They retreat back, but it looks like rook to e1 would have been better. We finally play this move, but now the computer says it's better to just put the rook on the light square. They take control of the center here. We put our rook here. It's like we're one move behind on what the computer recommends. So, all right. Let's see. Now it says we should have immediately moved up here and gone after this pawn. Which makes sense, because if we did that, we're targeting this. How does he defend? Well, he could move his knight up here and defend. You know, if he brings his bishop back, we could jump forward and attack it. You know, and add another attacker to this pawn. All right, well, he jumps down here. So now we trade off the bishops, which the computer says is best to move that rook and attack his, or excuse me, move the bishop to attack his bishop. Capturing is best for him. King captures. So at this point, black has a slight edge. Now it says rook capturing would have been even better to keep our king over here. All right, well, let's continue on here. We have e5 attacking us. Computer says knight to b3 would have been better because e5 leaves a gaping hole here. You know, it attacks our knight, but if we move here, he could just capture us. And then if we recapture, which I think is what happened in the game anyway, well, we didn't really get much out of that. We couldn't take advantage of this backward pawn. So, let's see, we jump up there. Oh, and it looks like it would have been better to jump back here. And then where do we go from there? Oh, back to here, and then we have both of our knights. Well, and also, we have to watch out for his knight jumping in. That's why it didn't like us moving over here, because if our king stayed on g8, it covers both of these pawns. So, of course, he jumps in here with the threat of attacking here, you know, forking our rook and our pawn, but this rook could just move over and protect the pawn, which may be what happened in the game. We go there first, so it looks like we should have jumped up there first. All right, he jumps in there, we jump our knight up, but now the computer likes this move even better. And the computer wants us to capture there. Okay, so we move up here, but I don't know. This move was probably wasted. It says we should have retreated back here instead. You know, and if we did that, what does that do? I guess we could, well, keep another piece on the board to help fight, you know, use to fight in this closed position. Because if he gives up his bishop in this closed position, you know, it gets rid of one of our good knights. So anyway, that makes sense when he finally captures us. So he goes ahead and does that. You know, we find the best capturing with our e pawn, because if, you know, it keeps all these pawns together instead of creating doubled isolated pawns. So he captures. Computer says that's a great move. We capture. And now rook to c3 is the best move. But he just, you know, makes a nice pawn chain here, gaining a little space on the king side. All right, so we double our rooks. Computer likes that move. Now rook to c2 is an inaccuracy that says rook to d3 would have been better. Let's look at that. Rook to d3, covering this pawn. And now it says king to e7 would be best, or even rook to c4, which, I don't know, that's interesting. It, I guess, fights for this half-open file. But king to e7 is the recommended move. So jumping up here, and then it recommends what? Rook to f1, threatening to push this pawn forward. And then we should play b4, which I think is what we found at some point in the game. All right. So in the game, he played rook to c2. We found the b4 move. He just captures, which is best, capturing towards the center. And now we capture, which is best. He moves over here, maybe getting ready to push this pawn. And now we move up here. Yeah, this looks dangerous, lining up with the rook. But if you go here and he pushes the pawn, you don't have to take. You could just jump up here, and then he'll have this pawn that's only protected by the rooks. Maybe you could get your rooks lined up and trying to attack it at some point. All right. Rook to a4. So it didn't like that. It said, what? Rook to a2 is better? Rook to a2. And then if he plays g4, we put rook at b. Wait a minute. All right, rook up here to a2. But, he would just protect that if we moved up there. So, I mean, at least that would kind of freeze his rooks, which I guess that kind of happened earlier or later in the game. So there, he's protecting that. We go up here attacking, but now it's saying king to e7 would have been better. Maybe we need to start marching our king up into the position. He defends here, and it recommends not even defending, just pushing our g-pawn forward. So here we make an inaccuracy. Better would have been king to e7. So let's see what they want us to do with this king to e7 move. Then it recommends king to g2, king to e6, king to f3, h6, and now king to f2 or g2. Looks like the computer's not quite sure what to do here. And now it's saying we might as well check the king as well. All right, but in the game, we just kept our rooks doubled. He starts moving his king up. We should have moved our king up. We play an inaccuracy there, but instead we should have moved this king forward to activate the king in the endgame and keep his king out. So let's see, rook to a1, trade, and now he pushes forward here. But rook to d3 would have been better, with a threat of jumping over here and attacking this. If we push forward, then he moves here and attacks this. Then what do we do? Do we play defense? I don't know. These rook endgames can be tricky. So we find the best move, attacking here, getting ready to guard our b pawn as well. If he decides to try and attack with his rook, he pushes forward. It looks like rook to b4 is best. The king starts moving up. Rook to b3 check, but once again, we should have moved our king forward. Okay, now here, probably should have just played h6. Oh, nope, the computer says king to e7 once again. So we capture, they capture. Now, f6 is the recommended move, or king to e7. So, I don't know. I guess we could look at that. If we play that, looks like e6. Then he has this strong passed pawn. Then what do we do? Rook to f3. We go after that. King to g4, protecting and attacking us. Then what do we do? rook to e3, getting ready to check the king over here. King back to h4. Then it wants us to go rook to f3, but I mean, I guess we could do this immediately. That recommends going up here. And then rook to e3. Anyway, we just check the king around, it looks like. So in the game, we had capture, rook to f3, going after the pawn, and then king to g5, which was a miss. f6 would have been better. So f6. And now what? King to e8, king to g5, getting ready to go after our pawn here. Rook to h3, which keeps the king from being able to move here and then here and target both of these pawns. King to g4, would just attack us. And then what? Rook back to b3, h4. Oh man, king to d7, getting ready to move up here. If we have king to g5, now up here, king goes after this pawn. I'm surprised we don't swing over here and target this, although he could just go here. I don't know, it's looking pretty bad with this situation. So, man, recommended is that. And then, what, rook to c2, going after the unprotected pawn. Then c5. Capture, capture, rook captures, king captures, then h5 or just capture, but probably h5 because then the king can move back up here and protect this pawn. So capture, king to g7. I mean, you probably capture that. Then rook to g2, cutting the king off. Man, it says this is a draw, but this would be really tricky to play. All that in the end game. All right, so in the game, we move over here. It doesn't like that. Rook to h3 is an inaccuracy. So better it would have been king to e7. So once again, it would have been better to bring our king up here. Now, they could just check us. But looks like h4 or rook to g2 is what it likes. h4. Oh man, it recommends f6 here. f6. And then e takes f6 with check. King to f7. Rook to e2. Looking pretty dangerous here. Rook to g3 check. Oh man, the king can go back here. Then we have rook to d3. Rook to e7. Yeah, so this just gives you an idea of how tricky some of this stuff can be. You at least pick this off. But now, it actually recommends us just checking here is best. I guess, well, because we have a threat of check here. Then king to f7. Rook to h6, threatening there. King to g7. Rook back over to d6. And now we could just go ahead and capture there. King up to g5. h6. Oh man, that's pretty crazy. That's the best move. But the rook would just pick that off. Then we have rook to b4. I don't know. That looks really dangerous with these two passed pawns. The rook is a little bit restricted here, but the rook can just jump right here and check. And I don't know. This is looking pretty bad. You know, f6. Now what? King to g8 is recommended. Rook to g6 check. Now there's only one move that works. This one. Man. Rook to g7. Then you're just going to march this pawn down. So rook takes b2. The h pawn starts moving. Rook to g2 check. King to h6. Rook to f2 threatening here. King goes there. Rook to g2. King back to h6. Anyway, I went off into the rabbit hole there. Okay. During the game, we played rook to h3. And then e6 was played. That's a mistake. King to g4, immediately attacking. The rook would have been better. And then we just retreat back here. White would be ahead in this position, although here it says it's about even. So, after king to g5, back up to here, then what? King to e7, and we go into this crazy stuff that we looked at already. So in the game, we have this e6 move. So the best thing is to capture. They capture, and then we move our king up to blockade this passed pawn. So they play rook to e2 to protect it. But now we have rook to d3 attacking this pawn. The king moves here. This is a blunder. Interesting. Now, why would this be a blunder? Maybe I guess I didn't take advantage of this. Okay, king, or maybe I did, but just didn't follow up right. So what should he have done first of all? King over to f5 would have been better. Well, now it doesn't like that. Oh, that wasn't f5. That's why. So delete that. King to f5, protecting this pawn. And now it recommends rook to f3, king to g5, rook to f6, getting ready to pick this pawn off. Rook up here to e5. And then, what, h6? Huh. All right, well, in the game, let's see what happened in this blunder. Our best move is rook takes d4, so we found that move. But, man, it said we were +4, well, 4.32 ahead now, so let's see. They capture. Now, rook to e4, so we're finding the right moves. Their best move is rook to g2. Okay, they found that. Now, d4. But, well, it's saying this is better. So we immediately get rid of that, and we prevent him from being able to check us and pick this pawn off. All right, so king to g7. It says this would have been better. King to g6 now. So we push our pawn forward, but it looks like it would have been better to bring our king up here. All right, so we start pushing forward. Their king is able to reach this square, which is best. And now c4 immediately would have been the best move. Okay, and we found that. h4 is best. So they find, well, now it's saying rook to d1 would have been better. But they want to get that passed pawn moving. So d3. Okay, we're doing good so far. h5. Now rook to e2, so we find that. Rook to d1. Okay, they find the best move. Now rook takes b2. Oh man, yeah, because then we'll have these two passed pawns here. If, once we pick this off. But man, that's going to be tough. Stopping that passed pawn over there. So here we make a mistake with rook to h2. So what did it want us to play? It wanted us to pick that off. Okay, now what if they just immediately go there? Well, now it says we need to get behind that. If they go, well, they wouldn't play h7. They would probably just protect it and get ready to push forward. But now we have d2, and we would be able to march this other pawn up. So, man, I guess that's kind of how we should have played. What if they do that? Well, then, oh man, it's saying that we just go there. And if they promote, well, they can't promote yet. They can't promote yet because we'll just pick that off. So, king to g7, but now we have this move. And we'd end up winning that way. So I misplayed that end game, and I don't know. I mean, with only 2 minutes left, I can't blame everything on the time, though. So in the game, we had this. We should have picked off that pawn. They start moving forward. We go here, but it looks like we should have stayed up in the center. So let's look at that. King to d5 would have been better. So king to d5, king to g6. Now it says we should have just captured here. Rook takes b2. But man, this runaway pawn looks really dangerous. So, and now they can go here, rook to h1. And it looks like rook to g2 check, king to f7, rook to a2. Oh, okay, you can swing down here and cover that. They would go ahead and do that. See, this is really tough, though, to find all this. Okay, so now, what if they go ahead and do that? Well, then we're forced to capture. They would capture. And now it looks like c3 is best. Rook to d8 check. But the king can just move up here. Now what? You won't be able to stop both of these pawns. It says rook to e8 is the best move, which doesn't really do much. I mean, I guess you could check again, something like that, but then the king just jumps up here behind this pawn, so you can't check anymore. Saying you might as well go here and pick off this pawn because he's going to promote. All right, so I overlooked that. That just looked really tough. You know, especially with under 2 minutes left. I was not really trying to calculate all that, I guess. All right, so they move here, an inaccuracy, or I move there, and then rook to f1 check, king to g8, but once again we should have stayed in the middle. The king comes up, we check, that's best. They move over there, which is best. Now it recommends just ignoring that and capturing the pawn, which we did not do. So it's saying we should have just picked that off, and then rook to g1 check. Rook to g1 check. King to h8. Okay. I mean, he could move here and threaten a mate. Well, no, if he does that, we'll be able to check him. But now it says rook to g7, just trapping me in there. But we have what? c3 for the win. Just starting to, you know, promote one of our pawns. We have this. But that would allow us to just check. When he moves, we would just pick off his rook. And then we would promote up here. So, yeah, that wouldn't work. All right, anyway, let's finish this out. I guess I missed that. So, check, we move. He comes up, we check, and we just start checking him back and forth. But it looks like I should have went after this pawn and then started marching my pawn pair up. Check, he just moves back, and then we just go into a draw here. So it says the game could have continued with b5, rook to g1, d2, king to f5 check, king to h7, rook blocking here, but then b4 getting ready to push through over here. King moves up to help. And now c3. King to... Oh, it doesn't like that move. It says we should have captured. So, let's go back. Well, it's still saying c3 is the best move. So c3, king to d3, rook to h3 check, king to c2 to help block, rook to e3, rook takes d2. Yeah, now we would just win because the threat is this move, rook to e1. And if he captures, we capture with the pawn and promote. Yeah, so we would have something like that. Capture, king captures, rook just moves over, blocking the king. You know, and then we're winning. We just pick this off, and king and rook will win. All right. Well, sorry the video went long again. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, leave comments, suggestions, any requests for future chess videos you would like to see. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.